Go. Do you want to start off there, Ethan?
Absolutely. Welcome to the TBA Logic Session Breakdown. We're the Byrne Brothers, and we're going to go through just the recording and the writing and kind of what went into making this song that we just put out recently. I'm Ethan. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I am Haydon.
I'm Joey.
Beautiful.
And we are all burning up inside.
And
as
outside.
The Byrne Brothers.
All right, sounds good. Well, do you guys, Haydon, do you want to talk about a little bit about writing the song and stuff before we dive into the logistics?
Yes. So we wrote this song with, hold on, I gotta turn off this stream audio. But we wrote this song with Rocky River Nightmare Band. It was me, Dylan, and Cody at the time. And I think this was like the first day we practiced is when we wrote TBA. And I guess the consensus was we were into crazy music, and we had already picked the name, Rocky River Nightmare Band. So we wanted it to be relatively scary. And I think it started off with just a jam, and then we eventually got to that part we do for 6 bars, the and so we did that, and we were like, oh, that's perfect. That's the whole vibe we're going for. And then we sort of built it around from there, tried to do a lot of mixed meter stuff. So, we have that 7/8 section after the first scary build up. And then, a bunch of different syncopation throughout the whole song. We just wanted something complex, interesting for us to play. And, no lyrics. We were just kind of going for something that sounded like a video game soundtrack, where there's different levels you go through, different scenes, and you get to the end, and so that's where that F sharp major kind of watery part at the end comes in. It's like you're done, you won, you beat the level,
right?
So that was really just kind of stream of consciousness thing that we put together. I think we finished it that day and then revised it slightly in the next coming weeks. But yeah, they stopped playing it, so the Byrne Brothers picked it up.
Right.
Happily took it on.
Happily picked it up because we love making ourselves miserable and having to think while we play. And yeah, I love the way we're doing it. I think it sounds really killer. It's still the 3-piece vibe that we had with Rocky River Nightmare Band. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got for the songwriting side of things.
It was a really simple setup, though, for really everything. I used the Glyn Johns method to mic the drums, which is a condenser mic as a mono overhead, and then a ribbon. I think I used a Royer. I used like a 70s Royer. Right over the floor tom, about 4 inches over the floor tom. Check that they were in phase. And I did something weird, because I saw my friend Jason Scalone did it at our studio session. So I tried to copy it. And I used an SM7B.
Shout out Quincy Jones.
To mic the snare drum and the hi-hat. And then I had actually I have it right here. Then I have an AKG D12. It's like a 76 model bass drum microphone. On the outside of the bass drum, I use a 24 kick drum. It's like a 24 by 15. It's a very big drum. And I think in the final mix we took out the snare mic. So it was a lot, but really simple format set up on the drums. But I mean that was really all that was used for about 20 something years, was that miking method. So I just stuck with it. Didn't see any reason to change it, to go for stereo overheads and stuff like that. I had all of my drums dampened pretty well. So the bass drum is just really the main thing. I really don't care about dampening. On the guitar, I think we just used your Sennheiser mic.
I think it's the Royer. Yeah.
Yeah, we used a ribbon and a dynamic mic, just to try to capture all of the really heavy low end and mid, and the Royer was going to get just the ambient noises and the room sound. We used a couple different guitar tracks as well, and then bass we just went DI with. I don't think we used any DI box or anything. But yeah, it was a really simple setup. I think the Logic session is only like 15 or so tracks. But yeah, it was really fun. I like doing just a very simplified method of miking drums instead of having 36 mics on a 4-piece drum kit.
Yeah, it works well for this song too. It captures a lot of character.
Yeah, really. It's not about like, because I mean, nothing about that song is in time or perfect on my aspect. So it just kind of emphasizes how like dirty it sounds, which is cool. I like it. You know.
I'm sure you got one note in time.
Hopefully one, yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping for at least one. But yeah, it was really fun to do. And the gain staging, I don't remember too much about it. I think Ethan did most of that, but it was roughly the ribbon and the overhead were about the same. And then I ran everything through a Neve 1073 preamp. It just had a low cut at 50 hertz, just across the board. I just use that for almost everything I record is a Neve 1073, or like an SSL channel strip. But yeah, everything else, all the other effects is all Ethan and how he decided to mix everything, how beautifully he did.
Wonderful job, Ethan.
So kind.
Yes.
All right, so then should we just go ahead and hop into the session after that long intro?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, word. So here is the session for TBA. We've got everything that we all just mentioned. Couple drum parts in here. There is in that midsection during the syncopated part. There's the second drum kit that comes in on top. A few different rhythm guitars, 2 leads, a couple guitar solos. We got bass and a handful of software instruments. So I guess I'll just start at the top up here with the drums. Now we got the first kit. And Joey, I know you talked about the miking and kind of your kit. And the gain stuff when we were recording was pretty straightforward, just basic leveling. We did use 4 mics when we mic'd it, and then we ended up only keeping 3 of them. The snare mic is muted now. But other than that, we got the overhead here, basic EQ. We have some compression running on there. Little soft distortion on that, and then a hint of reverb just on the overhead. The floor tom, channel EQ, couple selective cuts, and then a high pass filter at 50 hertz.
What verb did you use?
Reverb. Say that again.
On the overhead. Which verb did you use on the overhead?
The overhead is the silver verb, which actually I usually use that chroma verb in Logic, but I think actually Joey, this was part of your rough mix of the drums before I got the session, and it sounded so good I kept it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I just used like a small just like a small room,
right,
just to catch some ambience, because I mean there's already a lot of reverb in that room that we used.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, the recordings are all good.
Yeah, it's all about the raw signal. That's
Absolutely.
what's important.
Yeah, if it sounds good going in, it's really hard to screw it up. But so that's pretty much it on the overhead, and then that floor tom side mic is just channel EQ and compression, high pass filter at 50, and then the kick drum. Normally, I would cut probably somewhere around 30 or so, but this one was a pretty dry sound as is, so we boosted the low end, did a couple surgical cuts, and then we've got 5 dB of gain added on the channel EQ there, just to get a little bit more volume.
Yeah.
So that was pretty simple. And then when the second drum kit comes in, pretty similar thing. It was like 5-10 minutes later that we recorded that part, so it's the exact same kit, same mic setup. But in this case, we used overhead, floor tom, and snare mics, but we muted out the kick because they were playing the same pattern.
Look at that. Take number 2, Joey. Let's go.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, you can see. There's nothing to hide since we have the session open. You guys can all see all our dirty tricks, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess should we just listen? Yeah. Let's listen a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
We got just the drums here. This is the first drum track. Those double
Not
kick
bad.
patterns are nice. And like you said, there's a lot of natural reverb in that recording anyways, just because of the room it was in. It breathes a lot without the reverb. And then we get into this midsection. I thought this would be kind of cool to talk about, just the rhythmic kind of interplay during the syncopated section, because the two drum kits, I mean, in the beginning they serve a similar purpose, but especially once you get to the end, they really start to fill in each other's gaps and stuff like that. So sorry, I keep muting myself. On the first drum kit there, we've got kind of this pattern going. Just a nice ride kind of bass thing. And then that second drum kit comes in, a lot more hi-hat and good cymbal crashes and stuff like that. And the panning's a little different on the two of these. The first drum kit we did it's all pretty centered, just slightly fanned out. We got the kick drum in the center. And then that second kit is a lot more hard pan. The snare's completely in the left channel, floor toms all the way to the side, overheads all the way to the right. But you play them together and they really start to fill in the gaps of each other a little bit.
Sick.
Beautiful. Nothing but glory from the man, Joey.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And then, I mean, as far as the mixing goes, that's pretty much everything on the drums. There is a little bit of automation that I can show here. Just some boosts and stuff like that when certain sections come in to give them a little bit more oomph. And then during the section in the syncopated part where you start to do some tom fills, I do kind of a boost every fill and then drop it back down. So you can see here some volume boosts that happen, and that's really, I'll play it, but it's just in time with all those fills so that they kind of swell up and pull back as that part happens.
Oh, cool.
Just kind of bringing stuff in and out in between the guitar lines that are going on there. And that's pretty much all I did mixing-wise with the drums. I mean, like I said, little volume changes here and there, but it was already just so good, and the playing was just such high quality, and I was just so enamored with the man who played it too, so I was already just feeling really good going into mixing it, But
yeah.
Up next
Ethan,
in
you
the
can
session.
turn down your mic volume just a little bit.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's see. Is that a little better? I would assume.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's see. Next thing up here, we have the rhythm guitars. We got pretty much two rhythm guitar parts, but one of them during that last section, Haydon, that you were talking about, the kind of washy part, it turns into a little bit more of a lead.
Yeah.
And what's cool about all these tracks is that it's really just channel EQ and compression on all of them. And I thought maybe if you wanted to talk about just some of the pedals you used and stuff, because that's really where the bulk of this sound comes from.
Yeah, I think we used MXR brown acid
We used
for the fuzz,
mine as well. I think we used both.
and we
Both fuzzes.
just cranked a Princeton reverb. That's probably one of our favorite techniques.
It never
just
fails.
blow the speaker on the Princeton. Other pedals though, I think I had a carbon copy delay on there, and then during that washy section, that was pretty much entirely the what is it? Blue Hippo.
Thing's
So
sick.
it's a vibrato chorus pedal.
Yeah, then I think
So-
for one of the lead lines, you use this tar pit fuzz.
Okay.
I think we switched out one of them once just for something. I think just to mix more colors, but
Yeah.
this thing is sick. It's
Oh,
like
and
rear
then
amps.
there's the phaser throughout the main sections of the song.
Right.
Yeah, the phaser's pretty important. It just kind of makes it weird. But yeah, the pedal setup was not too crazy on that one.
And
Yeah.
what guitar were you using again? I don't remember if we talked about this or not.
That white Strat, I think.
Is either we got a white Strat, or it might have been your Telly.
I thought, wasn't there a part,
the
didn't
Strat.
the one with the big open chords, I thought that was like the Casino or something, where we had those big, beefy, like, sustained chords.
No, that was my black Strat.
Oh, okay.
I used my black Strat, then for everything else, I used my white Strat.
Yeah.
Both
Nice.
the white Strat is like a 91 Mexican made with a rosewood fretboard, and the black one is like an 86 American made.
Beautiful. And played
Yeah,
by...
100%.
Great guitars.
Solid shot, dude. Fender, my god.
Oh yeah.
Classic Princeton reverb fuzz. It's just the natural fuzz on it. It's just amazing.
to die for. Yeah, so I mean, the luxury of all that information is that I had to do very little to mix this. So I mean, if we can listen a little bit
on that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I got let's see. All right, so the first, just want to make sure I'm still audible. Yeah, okay. The first guitar part that we have here is just the rhythm guitar that starts out the song. That sounds like this. And then there's a second part that's a lot more gritty sounding, and that comes in on the second repeat there in the opposite channel. And I mean, that's where they're playing pretty similar things. The grittier one starts to go into those sustained chords during the syncopated part, but definitely adds a lot of the top end to the guitar tone, and they're panned pretty much opposite each other. So.
That's disgusting. Oh my god.
That's the Princeton reverb. Oh my god. I mean, just on its own, that dirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good. So those kind of go on throughout, and they're playing, I mean, relatively similar things, or throughout. And then we get to the mid section here, and we do the same thing. There's another lead guitar here that starts playing the that syncopated melody on top of it, and that one has no compression. It's just an EQ. There's a cut at, where are we at? Cut at 150, and that's really it. And then on top of each other, it's like the top one gives kind of the low end rumble, and then the other one gives kind of that snarly, growly sound. And then together it's just a nice studio, stereo image, nice and balanced. And then at the end is when they really start to differ. That last section, the top guitar is the rhythm, and then the bottom has this nice, it's a higher rhythm part, but it also moves around a little bit. And that mixed with the guitar solo at the bottom is the majority of the lead work in that last washy jam section. But together, I mean, that's what's cool about a lot of these things. Anytime there's a doubled up instrument, they all play really well together. It's a lot of just like kind of interplay between the two and bouncing in the stereo field, which is why I think this song has a lot of really nice dynamics too. It's just because of that natural breath that comes with that.
How is the mix quality coming out of the stream? I'm asking the chat and all the viewers.
Let us know, please, because we have never done this before.
Yeah, this is our first attempt, so
Be kind.
I think it sounds okay. It's clean as fuck. Is like the level, like, is it too loud or too quiet?
Okay.
All right, cool. All right,
They have spoken.
take your word
We all
for
good?
it. Yeah, keep going.
Awesome, that's great. All right, so I mean that's the majority of the rhythm guitar for the song, and then let's
Let's
go
hear the
into
rhythm guitar and the drums together.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Let's hear where we're at so far. So this is just drums and guitar.
Oh, that bass pedal work.
Say
Yeah,
that again.
Joey. I said that
Yes,
bass
sir.
pedal.
Oh yeah, those double hits are really, really nice.
Thank you.
Very clean.
Dude, that song's hard.
And then I've got
That
two
was the
lead
point.
guitars here. I think the first one is just, okay, so the first one is just the little run-up that, Haydon, that you did during the second A section, which, to remind everybody, is right here. But the fun part is this great little run-up that you do right here.
Dude, I have
Explosions.
no recollection of doing that, but I like it.
It sounds great.
Yeah, I like
How did that happen? I was like, yo, just put like a random solo here. And you're like, what?
Yeah, I was going through. We had a really long lead take on this song, and I took like little snippets of it and brought them in and out throughout the song. But the whole thing, it was like the entire song, we had this big lead take going over it. But that was one of the beautiful cherries to be picked. And if you listen to it, I mean, you listen to it with the guitar and the drums, and it's like it's what makes that swell too. Perfect. My God. And then the other lead guitar comes in here at the end at the notorious washy section.
That is the word of the day.
I know, washy. I mean, it describes it. I think it's perfect. Here, I got,
yes.
let's see. And again, with both of these, the only mixing that's being done on any of these lead guitars is just channel EQ and compression, because a lot of that is just the amp sound. All the reverb we used was amp reverb, so there's no need for bussing out or anything like that with the guitar sounds. Joey, you're back. We missed you.
Sorry about that.
It's a clean mix. For not having a lot of stuff going into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it sounds really, really great.
Yeah. It's all about those bass sounds, man.
It's good saturation throughout it.
Yeah, if you get the main parts right, I think that's the best. And the other thing is that all these individual sections, I mean, they're all fat and full on their own. You know, if you listen to just the guitars, just the bass, just the drums, it's all nice and full from the start. So you get it all together, and it's just that much better.
Yeah, and in the way that we do the recordings as well is it's usually just Haydon and I. We'll get like a solid rhythm track down, and then we usually overdub the next parts over it.
Right.
Since we can't do bass, guitar, and drums at the same time, we'll just try to work with what we have. Yeah, because there's only three of us.
Right. And that's why there is the only bleed that's really in this recording is the guitar in the drum tracks. Outside of that, everything is pretty super isolated, which is also a good thing, like you guys were saying, for just space and clarity. Is there's not a whole lot of bleed that we could.
Yeah, I mean, even if you solo the drums, it's barely even noticeable.
Exactly, and I think I don't hear it at all in the guitar. Honestly, I'm surprised the drums didn't bleed into the guitar very much.
Yeah, we turn the
directional mics on the amp, I believe, so it's only coming from the amp.
Yeah,
right.
we put a blanket over the amp and put
too.
And we had your Sennheiser and my Royer just under the mic, or under the blanket, I mean.
Right. Well, yeah. So the last guitar solo we have here is the product of that wonderful setup. Minimal mixing, but the tone sounds great.
That's some fuzz.
That's some fuzz right there.
Oh yeah, it's all
and
about
I
the fuzz with
don't
this
know
song.
which guitar that was, to be honest, but if you guys remember.
I feel like that was the Strat, the white Strat.
Yeah, that thing is disgusting.
I feel more comfortable on that one because it's got an extra fret. For some reason, having that little bit of room is like, yes.
That's all the freedom.
Oh yeah.
And then I think the next thing is the bass. I completely skipped over the bass actually. So the bass sound is one bass take, and then for the A section, the more driven section, we did a parallel treatment of that to get kind of a low rumble on one track, and then a nice like trebly, fuzzy kind of sound. and get those together, so you get that. And we also have them panned out a little bit, so the during that A section when the instruments are going off, the bass is kind of evenly spread instead of just dead center with the kick. So this is the beginning of the bass sound.
Man, is that Hofner, dude?
That Hofner.
My God.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
dirtiest. That's the heaviest bass known to man, right? Is a Hofner violin bass.
Oh yeah.
But we found a way. We found a way to make it gritty. So for that section, the first one we did. This is a really, really harsh EQ, but we're only keeping the spots between 81 and where am I at there? And
Damn, yeah.
like 400. So that's like a really, really slim portion of the frequency range there. But you get the nice rumbly, grungy sound from that. Which is nice. But then on top of that, we've got this bad boy, which is a much more open EQ. We just got a cut down here at 65. Compressor, and then I've got a I think it's actually one of the, oh no, it is a bass pedal. In the pedal board thing in Logic, I've got a fuzz machine pedal running on there too.
Nice.
That sounds like this. Not the cleanest sound ever, but together what's nice is that I think, so the top bass line, because it has such a small amount of the frequency range actually audible, there's a pretty big gap between the lowest end in the bass sound and the like rest of the bass sound, which leaves room for the drums and the guitars to kind of do their thing. So those together are kind of like this.
Yeah, that's sick.
And I think that was actually, Joey, I think that was your idea, if I'm not mistaken, when we were mixing the bass. But it's
Certainly
amazing.
wasn't mine.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I like it though. I think you're right. It leaves a lot of room.
Yeah,
for
I think
everything
you got to
else.
carve out space sometimes, especially, I mean, the bass covers such a huge like range of frequencies that you can't feasibly
I'm
have
usually
it
for
taken up
the
all the
very
space.
odd additions, so I wouldn't put it past me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds great, so nobody's complaining, I guess. And I mean, the bass line in this song is pretty straightforward. It's mostly copying the rhythm and just kind of helping that out. And then at the end, during the famous washy section, gets a little bit more just kind of sustained and like fill happy.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
fill you do in that section.
Let me see.
Boom.
Find
So
it.
good.
Oh, there
Yeah,
it is. Okay,
there's a lot of really cool psychedelic jams, like really psychedelic jams in this song. That can just go forever, honestly.
That's what's so nice too. I mean, I get to the end of listening to the song, not to like get off topic here, but I always feel like it feels longer than it is. It's only like what, 3.5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But it goes
but
through enough
it takes
sections
up
that
like
it feels
30.
But it could
Yeah,
be a
exactly.
10-minute song easily.
right.
Yeah, we used to play it for like 7 minutes with Rocky River. We would just jam that where we go B major. I think that was some scary minor jam when we did it.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to drag that thing out so long. But I like it. It's concise and it brings you to a point.
Definitely.
You know, I think it does its job.
And,
Way we do it.
and yeah, and some of the best parts are just letting loose. I mean, the jam sections are some of the coolest things. I like the kind of bluesy section in the middle that we go to, and the Wurlitzer comes in, and the washy section. That's where the most like dynamic changes too in the mix. I mean, even if you just look at the waveform, the most space and volume changes in those really nice jamming sections where we just kind of grow and fall.
Yeah.
But anyways, so this wonderful little bass fill is my crowning moment at the end of the song.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so clean. So
Oh yeah.
Ripped from somewhere probably, but
Probably
my
some
subconscious
from Sir
knows
Paul
not.
McCartney.
Honestly.
Paul, if you're watching.
Yeah, Paul, if
Yeah,
you're
that
watching
was
this,
me,
just know. So that's all the bass stuff. I got a stray tambourine here. I guess we can just quickly play a snippet of tambourine. we might as well.
I forgot there's tambourine in this song. Be
I,
completely
I,
honest.
I am very proud of my tambourine performance in this song. It's made me so happy.
Solid.
There we go. That's all you need. Just a little tease of tambourine. So next up in here, we've gone through pretty much all of the regular instruments. The only stuff we have left now is some software instruments.
Yeah.
If you can call them that.
Can we hear the mix with all the bass instruments?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so we got drums, rhythm guitar, bass, and tambourine. And this is the kind of just bass mix. Absolutely lovely.
Sweet.
I was wondering what tambo was.
Tambo, that's that tambourine. Oh, Haydon,
yeah.
you're back. Okay, I thought I had lost you. And then, so this next track up here is maybe my favorite thing in this song, just because of the name. I'll have to enlarge this for everybody to see, but it's called Monster Bottom End, which was actually my nickname in high school. And but what it is a pretty cool just wall of noise that comes in that first A section. And here, I'll just play that real quick. Whoa.
Wow,
Trippy,
that's
dude.
That's some monster bottom end right there.
It really is. And I mean, and it on its own, it sounds kind of mystical and all that kind of stuff, but when you add just like the guitar underneath it, the kind of snarl that just starts to emerge near the end, and then once everything drops out especially, and you're left with that decay where it just kind of like fades out with the little bit of reverb that's on there, it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I feel like it settles into that part really nicely with that.
And I'm pretty sure that was just like one of the Alchemy. Yeah, I'm looking here. That's just one of the Alchemy presets. So feel free to steal that. And
I love it. It's just like a scream almost.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like people a little bit at certain points. It's like a little too human for me. And then the next software instrument is just a really simple kind of 70s pad sound during the jam in the middle after the first break.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
The
And that
major
just
lift
sustains.
right there, baby.
Yeah, you can do a lot with just a couple notes. You know? And that's all just during this. Really just to fill out some space and you know, have a nice swell going on underneath, especially as the energy starts to grow. And then right below that, this wonderful Wurlitzer, which is just doing a walking bass line. Not my cleanest performance ever, but it works well when the song starts to pick up. Pretty straightforward.
Sweet.
But throw in the rest of the mix and oh man, ooh, Nelly.
It's nice. It's nice colors.
Oh, I love that part. The
That little
fall
walk
out
down
of
is
it.
fun.
Yeah.
It's actually, I didn't actually, the highest part in there is actually just like copied and pasted up an octave because I just wanted it to be a little bit more present. So if you listen to it, it's a couple of I just dragged it straight up, so it's like, it shifted a little. like if you listen to it, like they're like not quite lined up, but it's cool.
Yeah,
It still sounds cool, yeah.
And then after that, what song would be complete without Mellotron? None, not a single song. And we
got
have
a
it.
good point.
Settings for this one, we could have gone straight flute if we wanted to be basic, but we didn't. We mixed it with some cello. And it's actually leaning cello. It's like it says 76, so we're closer to cello than we are flute, oddly enough. But I think you really mostly just hear the flute in the song.
Yeah, I think the cello's low enough it doesn't like punch through.
Right. It just kind of and I mean the guitar's playing the same lick too, so any kind of frequency overlap there is going to be kind of the same. But that's this part right here.
Oh, dude, I can hear the cello. Nice.
I know, you can hear it when it's
Yeah.
soloed out. It's like, oh, this nice rumbly thing. But
Yeah.
everything else in, you know, it sits nicely though. It definitely supports the melody, which I think is the coolest part. And if you don't believe it, you better believe it. That's every track in the song, boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
we.
Huh.
I mean, and I'm not saying that there's nothing else to say about the song, but that is all the layers of the song. Mix-wise, the only other thing that's going on here, I've got basic volume automation going on most of the channels and the groups that I have for the drums, guitar, bass, and some of the software instruments. Everything just has little swells and dips kind of throughout. And that's really it. I mean, this sometimes I would do maybe a little bit more summing and kind of get things down to some buses and start to treat things individually as groups, but there weren't too many tracks to begin with in the first place, so it was kind of easy to just group up the drums and group up the guitars and then let everything else just be treated kind of solo.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, you want to talk a little bit about how you ran it through tape? Because I know you were talking about how you might have used the Abbey Road tape, or
Yeah. So this one in particular, this one does not have the Abbey Road tape on it. I did end up bussing out, or not bussing out, but I ended up sending out an earlier part of the rhythm mix to tape and brought that back out. But some of the overdubs have not gone through tape. A lot of the MIDI info has not gone through tape.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it was easier in this case. In the past, we've fully mixed songs, and then we'll take the stereo mix and we'll pump it through tape and then bring it back in and kind of just level match and make sure everything's sounding good. But in this one, there was enough rumbliness that I felt like getting the basics kind of sounding nice and analog-y was good, but then we still wanted some clarity. And the song, I mean, again, like if you look at the waveform, it's like it's pushed pretty much the whole time. So I didn't want to lose a whole lot of clarity. So some of the stuff is digital, but a good amount of it is just like a nice analog rhythm track. But they serve different things. I mean, the Abbey Road plugins are great and they sound really, really good. But there's definitely a different like EQ and frequency response pushing the real tape machine, because you can do a lot more with, like, you can compress your own audio just by pushing the tape really hard, because it won't go past a certain value. Whereas, like, if you push the like J37 plugin, it's still going to distort like digital audio because it's a digital plugin. So once you reach that threshold, you're still going to get distortion. Whereas on this, you can really pump it as far as the inputs will let you. And you'll get some gritty sounds, but you won't actually get a volume response that cuts out like digital distortion does. So yeah, that was that. That's the analog cool part of this song. But there are other ones, and we'll probably do other songs in the future that have probably a bigger presence of tape in the recording and mixing process.
all that EP stuff.
Yeah.
It all got ran through tape. So that was also a much longer process. There's a lot more of those songs.
No, and there's a difference in like in mastering for like a single versus mastering a project, because there's a lot more that goes into like level matching and making sure that everything flows properly, and that there's not, huge gaps in volume between songs when you're working with an EP versus, or any group of songs versus a single.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who watched.
Yeah. What?
We'll try to do some more of our songs, and we got a live stream tomorrow. We're doing some cool bands.
I feel like Home in the Morning would be a good one to do.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be fun. There's a lot of layers in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we should. We'll get a schedule and we'll try to do this more frequently. This is
Absolutely.
something nice to do during the lockdown. So
Yeah, it's a way for us all to see our pretty faces,
yeah, of course.
have conversations.
Oh yeah.
Because we don't talk at all outside of this. This is the only time we've spoken.
No, it's the only time we've spoken in the past like 2 months.
We have a strict no texting policy.
Yeah, no chance.
But yeah, and then tomorrow night is twitch.tv/The Groovy Nest, right?
Groove Nest.
Groove Nest.
Wait,
Sorry.
Let me get, because I have our time slot.
Okay,
We're
perfect.
playing at 5:30. I think.
5:30. Yeah.
We're playing with some cool bands.
Yeah. Right. Before Rob Baird.
Yeah, much bigger bands, but very cool bands.
And it's for a good cause. It's to benefit Hope Harvest Food Bank. So
I'm sorry, you were right, Ethan. It is Groovy Nest.
Groovy Nest. Awesome. So yeah, tune into that if you want to see some other much more interesting bands and us sandwiched in the middle of it.
We have a 50-minute set. We have the longest set.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Okay.
If you want to be interested in us and us only, tune in.
Actually, no. Stranger Company is the longest set, but yeah, we have 50 minutes. So
Sweet.
Come.
Thank you, Andy. Bless you.
Word.
We're gonna try to do this more. This is something cool. It's also nice because I forgot a lot about the mixes and stuff. So
Oh yeah, it's like rediscovering something you once loved. I
It's
forgot.
Yeah,
nice
for
to
real.
dissect old things too and be like, oh, we did this here. We
Yeah.
could use that in this situation. So
Yeah.
We're
fun
also
for
gonna,
us.
in case you missed it or want to watch it again, where it's gonna be on our Instagram TV, and then probably on YouTube as well. We're gonna upload this. So
And you can follow us. Which way am I pointing? This way. At those things.
yeah, we got a website. We got a cool website that we don't pay any money for.
Yeah,
we got
sure.
an Instagram account that's free. We have a Facebook account that's free. All this stuff is free. Follow us.
Please.
Everyone loves free stuff.
Everyone,
So
our music is free. Listen.
Yeah,
to
if
it.
you pay for streaming, then our music is free.
Yeah.
I don't pay for streaming, and if you like Khalid, he's always on our suggested tracks when you play us.
Ooh, that's high praise.
Yeah, so you can get a TBA and then have some Halsey playing after that.
Yeah, for real.
Good mixture.
But thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Burn Brothers.
Yes, thank
Sayonara,
you.
boys.